Okay, here's a quick tutorial on how to get started animating in Maya. I'm going to be doing this in a few steps. So I'm going to write down a step somewhere here so you can skip forward. And okay, let's get started. First, you need to set project. So you open Maya, and then you create project first. You open project window, and you create a new project. I'm going to just make it on the desktop and select. So you select the location, and then you call it animation test, whatever you want to name it, and then accept. It creates the folder for you. So right here, it created a folder called animation test. In this folder, it creates all these subfolders. You don't need to worry about this. All the scenes we save go into the scenes folder. So if we go file, set project, and then we go to desktop, we get our animation test, and then set. Just open the animation test folder and then set. So it set the project. So every time you save, it's going to save in the scenes folder. So I'm going to save it for the first time. Don't do anything, just save for the first time. And then animation test, it directly takes me to the scenes folder. And then always save in ASCII. Don't save in binary. The advantages of ASCII is like you can recover a crash file very easily through ASCII. So I'm gonna save it as anim tutorial, doesn't matter, save. Perfect. Okay. So our file is saved as MA and our scene is set. Step 2, if you're opening, like animating in Maya for the first time, there's a few steps I would recommend. Turn on auto key. By default, it's off. This is the button. Turn it on. So let's say we have a sphere and we want to animate this. So you press S on the keyboard to set a keyframe. And then if the auto key is off and you go to frame 10 and then you move it, it would not set a new keyframe for you. And then if you move the timeline, it snaps it back. If you turn on auto key and you move it, it sets a keyframe right here. Go frame 30, move it, sets another keyframe. So it animates it. Move it, rotate it, sets a keyframe right there. And I would recommend always pressing S key, because if you see here, it only set keyframes for the things you move, the x-axis and the y-axis, but all the others were not keyed. So always press S. Every time you want to finalize a pose, boom, press S. And then I'll do it for you. Cool. Always turn this on. And then I'm going to delete this. Go to Windows, Settings, Preferences, go to Preferences. And then under Settings, make the time frame 24 FPS. Depending on what frame per second are you animating in. Some game stuff is done in 30 FPS, but all the film stuff is in 24 FPS, so make sure it's 24. It's right here too, so make sure you set it to 24. And everything else is fine. Cool. Okay, close this. Another important step that a lot of people forget is when you play in the timeline, by default, it plays every frame free. What that means is sometimes the scene gets really heavy and it's not able to play properly. So it will try to calculate every frame and then show you what's going on. But that's not 24 frames per second, that slows it down. We want to see it in the right speed. So we have to go right click on your timeline, playback speed, make it real time. Real time is 24 FPS, what we have set here. So every time we click play, this is playing in 24 FPS. If we set it to every frame free, it tries to play it as fast as possible. See how fast this is now? But it slows down at times, so it's very irregular and it's not reliable, so don't do that. You only use this when you're doing effects like fire and smoke. But if you're animating, real time. And this is set. Another extra thing if you want to do this, you go to display, heads up display, and then you can show frame rate. What this will do is it will show you how it's not showing you what frame rate it's playing on, it's showing you what frame rate it's capable of playing on. So if you're on real time, that's 24 FPS, and if you click play, you'll see it's going from 24, 23, 24. That means it's sometimes it's skipping frames, sometimes it's not. So if I have like a sphere here, and I key it, go here and key it, and then I play it. So it's consistent because it's not moving, but when it moves, it drops a little. So if it gets really heavy, if your characters are really heavy and you have full animation, it might drop to like 10 or 12. At that point, you will be like skipping frames that you animated. So you would always go into a habit of playblasting. I'll get to playblasting later on. It's a way to see your animations completely smooth without chugging. The computer can't handle heavy animation. So there's that. You can also use the graph editor in this view. To do that, all you need to do is you can either go from here, animation editors, Windows animation editors, graph editor. It shows you the curves of the animation. You can dock it to next to the timeline like this. Just drag the top part until there's a blue line and boom, it snaps in here. So you get a graph editor view. You can close it like this much and then open it whenever you want. So if I make another sphere and I key it, move it over, move it, rotate it, key it, it puts keyframes here, and then they're by default they're all spline, so like they slow in and slow out. And I can just move, use W key to get in the move, and then you can middle mouse and move around the keyframes, left, right, up and down. If you only want to move it up and down, you can lock it using this symbol. So if it's left and right, it will only go left and right, not up and down. If it's up and down, it will only go up and down, not left and right. Okay. That's a quick overview of Graph Editor. I'll come back to this. Delete, and go close. Okay. So that's step one. Your Maya scene is set and it's ready to animate. Cool. All right, step two. In step two, first thing you want to do, obviously you would board out whatever you want to animate. You'll decide the keyframes, key poses, and like plan out your acting. That's all done. Now you're in Maya. Now what you want to do is bring in your character. So I'm using Long Winter rigs. So I'm gonna go Long Winter, Character Manager, and then there's like two ways of importing rigs. Long Winter provides you with a shelf, so you can just click this and reference character. Don't open the character file. Always reference it. I'll show you the other way of referencing characters. File, reference editor, and then you would go this symbol or file, create reference, and then you would find your rig file wherever it is, and then this way you can select your rig and then click reference and it'll bring the rig in. Right now I'm using this shelf, so I'm going to select like the simple rig, and then I'm going to go reference character. There. So we opened up our character, and here, look, we got a character reference file got created. We can always turn it off. If you have like 5 characters in our scene, we can turn off 4 of them and only work on the ones that we are animating. And then, so this way you have a light scene, and then you can just turn them back on, and all your animation is always there. It never gets deleted. That's the benefits of reference. Your file doesn't get heavy, you can turn them off at will. You can even replace the old rig with the new rig. I'm gonna activate this scene. Cool. And I'm gonna close this. So here's our rig. Now our textures are turned off, so I'll show you how to turn them on. Click this button to turn on textures, and you can turn them off. For this, we can turn them on so we can see what the character looks like. I'm going to move this gun away because we don't need it. By default, the geometry is set to R, which is reference, which is locked, so we can't select the geometry. We can only select the controls, which is good. If you want to select the geometry for some reason, you can just click this button and you can select the geometry. I'm doing this because I want to hide the gun, so I'm gonna select the whole gun with the geometry. This is to create a new layer with the selected objects in it. So I'm gonna click this and turn this visibility off. So our gun is gone. And I'm going to lock the geo back up. Perfect. So we have our reference file in scene. I'm going to save it, and I'm going to show you how to increment save it. Never save on top of your same file because sometimes files get corrupted and you might lose everything. So always make a new file when you save. Press Control or Command for Mac. Control Alt S in order to save a new file. So when you press this, and it's writing animation tutorial 0001, and it'll keep on going. It's increment saving. Perfect. And it'll keep on going 1, 2, 3, 4, and you can always go back to a file and then find your save. And it will save in the animation test project we made in the scenes folder, which is great. Let's just say we want to make him jump off a big block or like a building or something and land. He can do a hero landing. He can do a normal roll, or how parkour is done. Always get reference. I'm just going to show you a quick reference thing I find. Let's say you have parkour. It's jumping off a roof and landing safely. Okay. Okay, let's look at this one. You can use the comma and the period key in YouTube to go frame by frame. So I'm gonna go back to where he jumped. This is really important because you want to know the right way of how like body works and how jump works. So let's say he's running towards the thing, so we might just start from the standing position. But if you get the idea, so he launches himself and does a flip. But the important part is when he lands, he rolls to take the momentum away from him. Okay. So he doesn't break his legs. This is also landing. They all roll if you're not jumping from a high position just to cushion the landing. Okay, that's another reference that can be used. So if we go back, so we can see how he lifts one of his legs first, uses that to push through the other leg in the air. His hands are also balancing him up. Raises his hands when it's landing, 1 feet, and land and then push it. Cool. But if you want to do a hero landing, you don't need a cushion because it's a hero. No knees are broken. So
for it. Superhero landing. Yeah, that's really hard on your knees. Totally impractical, yep.
So like all he's doing is just landing, not rolling, but making a cool pose. So that can also be done. You can try that. But also you can get ideas of like what are cool poses and what he does in the air and stuff. Okay, enough of that. This is just to get an idea of the key poses. And I'm just gonna make a quick scene. And the biggest thing to do before you start animating is set your camera. You always animate for the camera. You never animate from all angles. Oh, I'm gonna make him look good. This angle, that angle, that angle. But he's just like a tiny dot that far from this angle. Doesn't matter. Make him look good from this angle. Make his silhouette look nice from this particular angle. That's all that matters. So I'm gonna make a box. I'm gonna make a big box. I'm gonna move him first. I'll try to index everything so you don't have to go through this whole process. So you can just skip to the time. Okay, let's say he's gonna jump from like this high and then land onto the surface. That's our surface. Okay, I usually lock my geo, so I don't select it by mistake all the time. Just select geo, same button, click this button to make a new layer, fit the selected objects, and then reference it. So you don't select it anymore. Perfect. Now I'm going to take the master control and place him in his initial position based on what the boards say. But I'm eyeballing it right now. Let's just say he's standing here. Okay. He's standing here. Perfect. And then I'm going to make a new camera. Create camera, camera. And then I'm going to go panels, perspective, look through that camera. So that's our camera. I'll zoom out. And here's our camera. Since I'm far away, I'm going to change the focal length of the camera. By default, it's to select the camera, you click this button and you select the current camera that you're looking through. So by default, it's 35. And since 35 is a very wide focal length, it's good for close-ups, but not so good for far shots. So I just make it 100 so we can feel like we're looking at him from far away. If you want to make it more dynamic, you just reduce the focal length, make it more dynamic. I'm just gonna, for this demonstration, act like it's far. Okay. And then since it's all broken up, to fix this, you can always turn on anti-aliasing. It'll slow down the computer, but you can turn on anti-aliasing, or you can select camera, view, select camera. There's two ways to select the camera. Attribute, and near clip plane and far clip plane. So I'm going to make the near clip plane 1, far clip plane 1000, maybe 2. Cool. And move the camera somewhere here to see the right ratio, because this is just a window. To see the right, see the right ratio of the camera, you can press this. That's the resolution gate of your scene. It's 960 by 540 right now. You can always go to the render settings. This button goes to render settings. Scroll down. You can change this to HD 1080, and that will make it 1920 by 1080. Same ratio as previous one, but you get the right resolution. You zoom out and turn the curves off. One sec, turn the curves off. Cool. So you have your scene. You can turn this on to make it look nicer, but it slows down the computer, so I won't recommend it. And there's your scene. Cool. Now I'm going to go back to my perspective. But if I'm animating from my camera, how would I select controls? It's so hard to select the controls. They're like so weirdly placed, and they're so far away. How would I select controls? Well, you'll select controls in perspective view, and you move controls in perspective view, but you have the camera view open. If you have 2 monitors, you have the camera view open in the second monitor. I'll show you how to do that. So what I can do is I can go to the camera view, and I can panels tear off a copy of this camera view. It gives me a loose window. I can take it to a second monitor, or I can dock it right here on the left. And okay, cool. It's in perspective view, but it's the camera. I'm going to turn on display, heads-up display, camera name. It's on by default. I turned it off, so it says camera 1. So both these screens have camera 1 right now. So I'm going to go panels, perspective, perspective. So now you have the perspective view here, and you have the camera view here. Usually it's in a second display, so that's why it's going to be weird doing it this way, but I'm going to place it right like that. And then I'm going to show curves. So I don't see curves here, but I see them here. And one more thing, I would want to lock this camera so I don't like accidentally move it. To lock this camera, you click this button, lock the current camera, and boom. Okay, now I can't move this camera at all. I only see it. So I'm gonna squish it because that's our like zone where we're gonna jump and land. I'm gonna pull back a little bit more. There, lock it. Okay, cool. So we can work our way here doing the posing, and we can see how it looks from there. Awesome. So that's set up, camera set up. I'm gonna save it again as increment save. Control Alt S, saving. So the camera set up, the rig there, placed, positioned, this rough layout is also there, and everything is set up. Cool. Okay, time for step 3. So before you start animating, it's a good practice to understand how the rig works. See all the controls, see what they do, and understand what they're for. So I'm gonna push this over, and I'm gonna see how it's set up. So the arm is set up in IK. Because we're doing a jump and land, we would not need IK. IK is only needed when your hand is stuck to a wall, holding the floor, or like it needs to stay at one place, stay put, but the body moves. So that's not our case. Our hands are moving a lot with the body. So we would want to switch it to FK. So the first thing I'm going to do is find the FK. So I'm going to go to channel. It's usually either this control, which is not the case, or either an extra control sticking up, which is there we go, arm switch. So I'm going to switch it to FK. So now I can move the arm from the shoulder. Cool. Same for this guy. Switch it to FK. Cool. So we have these main controls for the arm. Here's one for the wrist. Awesome. What does this one do? Oh, it has attributes. Cool. Curl. Close the fist. Nice. Spread. Awesome. So you'll slowly check all the controls, all the main controls you want to be using. See what they do. Okay, and we need this. How to bend the spine. I guess this one. Okay, not this one. These are both offset controls. Okay. So this moves the spine back and forth, like this one does too. Awesome. Move it forward, you bend it over. Cool, interesting. And then what's this for? The hips. What's this for? The whole upper body. Awesome. So I guess you get an idea of how he bends and moves. And then his head can rotate. Perfect. So now what I do is I make a button on the shelf. This is called the shelf, and I make a button on the shelf to be able to select all the controls at once instead of me doing this every time, because sometimes you have more controls on the scene, more characters, and if we do this, we select those and it's confusing and stuff. So what I do is I select all the controls once, and then I go to create, set, quick select set, you name it skull controls. It's going to add to shelf, but it's going to add it to the current shelf. So I'm going to open a custom shelf, which is usually empty. I'm going to cancel this. Custom shelf. I already made some buttons, but this is usually empty. Create, set, quick select set, name it, add to shelf, and there you go. We have our button. Every time you want to select all the controls, we select the button and select all the controls. Why is that important? The best way I found out to animate is to be able to select all the controls make a key, and how it translates from 2D to 3D is once you select all the controls and make a key, you have a pose, and that pose is locked down. No control is keyed on separate keys, and arms are on different keys, legs on different keys, bodies on different keys. And then once you're gonna go and it's like, oh, this pose is too fast, or this it comes too early, or it comes too late, you can't move the poses because everything is keyed on separate keyframes. So the best practice is to key the whole thing, go to like the 5th frame, key again, and this way you can move whatever control you see, you can move and be sure that that control is already keyed on the particular key you're on. So cool, I'm gonna undo this. Perfect. So this way it makes it so much easier because we can just go back to the previous pose and just tweak the pose. I'm gonna put him in the initial pose. So I'm gonna just select the controls, press S, key the whole thing, and there's the right key, and then I'm gonna make him stand. First, the first few keyframes, you don't have to be polished. Just put him in the pose you want. This one, cool. Put him in the pose you want, and then like a rough, very rough pose, because we want to get the timing right first, and then we can polish the poses. So I'm gonna pose him, and I might fast forward this part so you don't have to suffer through it. And I'm gonna show you the next keyframes, and the next poses, and the next poses. I'm not gonna time it. I'm gonna key the whole thing, and then I'm gonna go to next frame and key the whole thing, next frame, key the whole thing, next frame, key the whole thing, and I'm gonna plan out my whole action in the first few frames. And once that's done, we have our drawings or poses, technically, here, 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 and then I can always move them around and then time it that way. So we have poses and then the timing. So let's do the first pose. Also, don't forget, keep an eye here. That's what you're animating for. Don't care about this. I'm going to be checking my silhouettes here. And there's a trick to check silhouettes better. What you can do is you can hide your background, and then you can turn on the light bulb. If there's no lights in the scene, turn off the textures. You basically turn off the textures and turn the light on. This turns gray. Usually turns black, but this particular character has shaders. So I can click this button to turn off all the shaders, and this button to turn off all the lights, but there's no lights, so he turns black. And I can just see my silhouettes very clearly from this view. So I can always turn the light on, turn the shaders back on, turn the textures on to see the colored version. Cool. Okay, all you gotta do is now pose. Let's just say that's my first pose. Maybe he's looking down. That's my first pose. Cool. Now I'm gonna select this, and auto key is on, so it just registers all the movements I did, so I won't forget it. And I'm gonna go frame 2, press S, keys the whole body, and then I'm gonna anticipate. So I'm gonna pull him down. I'm doing like the broad beats, like the main poses, nothing in between. So and the best part is you don't have to care about keying all the controls, they're already all keyed. So all you focus on is moving them. So spread the legs. So look in the camera view. Okay, it's the second pose. Click this button again, go to the third frame, key, and another pose. So he's gonna take off. So I'm gonna make him go. You can use the comma and the period key to go between keyframes, like that. So you can always check your flow. So it's darting straight 45 degrees, so and I like that. If you look in the camera view, you like that, nice. And I'm gonna make his feet lift off. Make it look good from the camera view, so both the feet are visible. Nice. You don't have to polish the poses, just get the basic idea across. Maybe when he took off, his hands got straight, but pulled back. So we pose him like that. It would be nice to see both the hands visible. Pose him in a way that you see both the hands. We do this and we raise that line higher. Nice. Take a look here. Nice. Go back to this pose. I'm stretching the legs a little, so it causes like a smear kind of look. Now their feet are in the air, so it's gonna be harder to do IK, but it's not a big deal for this case. But if you want the legs to arc nicely, because what IK does is tries to find the shortest path to the next position, but FK goes from waist down to knee down to and makes an arc. So let's select the control and use the comma and period to see previous next to the camera. Okay. Perfect. You shot up. Okay. I'm gonna go select this. Go to the fourth frame, key again. And then I'm gonna. Okay. So previous, jump, 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 jump. I want him here, right here. So I'm gonna move this right there. And then he's starting to straighten up. And then I'm gonna take his feet. And maybe they're also starting to curl up, but like one foot is doing it faster than the other. And maybe the hips are. Oh, there you go. That's cool. He's bending forward. You can select the control. And then see that previous one. To the camera view. Maybe the hands are folding up. Maybe like that. They're folding up, but they're folding down, but they're going up. So it goes like straight and then up and then up and then it goes down. So I'm gonna just like, you can go up, fold back. Maybe do this, go down, fold back. And you can't see it in the camera view, so you have to fix the silhouette. So I'm gonna make sure you see that. Doesn't matter if it looks broken from here, it should look good from the camera. That's what's important. Maybe his head is he's about to like straighten up, because he's about to go down, so it's gonna look down. Okay. He's gonna hang in the air for a second. So he's gonna move up a little bit and forward a little bit, but not too much. So timing and spacing. So it's gonna go up, forward, and up. But his legs are gonna come towards his core faster than his body will, because the legs have momentum still. And it's a nice pose. It's a nice pose from here, but no, not from there. So I'm going to make it nice from there. So cool. You don't have to polish the poses, just get the basic idea. So let me see what his hands need to do now. So if I go, hands are going up. Okay, they're going to curl back even more, but go up. And I'm going to change it later, I'm pretty sure. So I'm going to just do a basic idea of what it should be happening. And you can move whatever control you want. They're all keyed. Best part about this process. See, sometimes they're all in object mode, all the gimbals, so they move in all different directions and it's hard to control. So double click your move tool, change it to world, and this way you can move them all together. So jump, jump, jump. Alright, let's say it's okay, and then we can fix it later. Go to the 6th frame, key, same process. Now he's trying to come down, so I'm gonna move him forward. Forward and lower, forward and lower. Set jump. If you look at his head, I'm seeing how far it goes, and it goes less far, so slowing down, less far, slowing down, so settling, and then it's gonna get bigger and bigger, the difference. So I'm just checking using his head, because his head is leading in this case. His feet were coming forward. You know what? I'm going to the previous pose and make his feet come less forward, so I can make him go more forward in the next pose. So less and then more. Nice. Getting ready to fall. You know what? Next one. Let's go crazy. Let's do, in the next two frames, we're going to do a super long smear to make him smooth. It depends on how cartoony you're going, but if you can go super cartoony, not cartoony, but like you can have a long smear, then sure, why not? That spacing of the waist, so the waist goes down, and then let's go, maybe the waist ends up here next frame. Let's do that. The waist and feet. It ends up here. I'm checking the arc. So Okay, next frame. Next frame, he will be touching the ground. So this one, I will make him touch the ground. So I'm going to take his feet. The feet goes too straight down because we were in a nice arc. If feet go too much down, I'm going to move them forward. Whenever you're like having a hard time like positioning your camera, select the control, press F, position the camera around it. Makes it easier. So this is the sleeve, and select this guy, go to the next frame, key. Yeah. So now he's all screwed up. So I might want to reset some of his controls. Never be scared if the rig is like broken like that and you can't figure out how to fix it. I mean, I'm probably move this weird control some in weird place. Okay, I fixed it actually. But you can always select everything, zero everything out, or copy a previous pose from like this key, set all the controls. You can copy a previous pose, like for example this pose. I can copy it, right click, copy, you can paste it under this pose. So right click, paste. And then paste the pose and you can position it later, but we fixed it so we don't have to do it. Okay. I think before I get into this pose, I might want to finish off the smear with like make his hand break joints. I'm not making that bend his hand properly. His head up in the momentum. Hand up. Momentum. Let's see how he's gonna get into a good place. I mean, I would have planned it out beforehand, but right now I'm eyeballing it. Okay, this one. Let's just skip to the final pose. We'll see how it works out. Awesome. Now I'm gonna make him. I'm gonna try the Spider-Man pose maybe. see. Okay. Let's erase this back. I might switch this to, oh my god. I'll switch this to IK so his hand doesn't shake around while I do it. Let me just do it. Switch it to IK. Oh, one step. Select all the controls and key them. Don't forget. You know what? I'm just gonna do FK for now. I don't want to waste too much time. Okay. Do IK if you're doing it properly. Okay. Move his hand into a good position. Maybe. Let's do that. And obviously they're on single keys, so we'll have to spread them out. But for now, they're 11 frames. Let's see how that looks. Not spread out, so super fast probably. And because it's real time, from here, you see real time. Cool. You can see our arcs. Whatever we don't like, we fix. And I'm gonna spread it out. And this is all based on whatever the animator feels, how far they should be. So I'm gonna just go from my experience, and I need 2 frames to do that. Three frames, then 4th frame. Let's do 3 frames. Wait, did we do a compression? Okay, do it now. So when he's like going down, I want to have another one that goes a little further. So we're going to do that in breakdowns. Let's just do whatever we have for now. So I'm going to push it to 4 instead of doing compression. Takes off. I want him to explode, taking off, right? So I'm going to select all the controls. I'm going to move this 2 frames forward, actually. Copy this pose and paste it here so it stays down for like 3 frames. So it stays down for 3 frames and then explodes. And then in 2 frames, this, and then I want him to be slower at the top, so 3 frames. Maybe 2 frames for this. Two frames for this. There's a little smear. Nice. And then big smear, only 1 frame. 1 frame. 3 frames. Huh. Let's see what we do. Did we make a new keyframe? Oh, nice. You know what? I'm gonna make his hand go up in like a few more frames. I don't know. Let's see. Nice. I kind of don't like the arc. He's like going forward, but he falls like right down here. It should fall like a little bit forward. Based on where your camera positions are, you might not be able to do that, so you fix the curve at the backstage. I'm just going to fix it at the end. So now the cool part is you select this control and you see all your keys, and you just have to edit the pose you want to fix. So I want to edit this pose. So his feet land forward. and then I can use the comma and the period. Oh no, his feet sliding back, so I can copy this. Feet length forward. I think I can fix the waist later. Feet length forward, feet length forward. Now I'm going to fix the waist. Cool. Forward, forward, forward. I can just copy this, paste here. You don't have to look at graphs right now. I'm just looking at keys. Two, if you don't want to look at smooth, like a spline preview, so you don't want to see the middle frames because they're just not working. You want to see it like blocked. I recommend not doing this. Don't do the step preview. It breaks the rig or something. Not ideal. Select all the controls. So your button, select all the controls. Open your graph. Select all the keys in the graph, and click this button. It steps all your keys for you, and boom, everything is stepped. So I can see it in not smooth spline preview or whatever. And now we've done the keys, set up the camera, we've fixed some silhouettes. I'm going to check it with our method, turning this off, turning this on, turning the bulb on, and turning the layout off so we can see it. It's staying in this position too long, so it looks weird. So I can change that. Oh, that's a lot of frames for that position, so I'm going to move it back. So just 2 frames. Okay, better. Camera shake. Nice. Nice. Now you can do the fancy stuff, which is breakdowns, or polish your keyframes first. But I'm going to show you breakdowns now. So this could be step 4, breakdowns. And it's getting long, so I'm not going to polish too much, but I'm going to show some breakdowns. So once you've done the keys, you come to breakdowns. So what's breakdown? I'll find a pose in the middle of this. I'm going to just turn my keys to spline so I can fix my breakdowns quick. So select everything, click this button, it's back to spline. Smooth. Alright. So I select all the controls, I check my poses, it goes from this to this. Let's just say he goes up before he goes down. So I'm going to have a breakdown right here. I'm going to copy this, I'm going to paste the keys. Cool. So he goes too little. I'm going to select all the controls, shift select the whole thing, shift and click and drag, move forward. So he goes up for a little more. And then I might have a pose where he, before, okay, yeah, that one. Before launching, he pushes himself lower. So, like a spring. Maybe pushes back a little. Maybe bends forward a little. His hands go up. Oops. Boom. Maybe I want the hand to go like this. Boom. Boom. That's in 1 frame, so no breakdowns here. And then, you know what? I want the foot leading right away instead of coming in later. So I'm going to select everything. I'm going to key it. And I'm going to make the foot come forward, almost starting right there. Silhouette, not visible, so move this. Nice. Nice. Okay. The hand seems to be going, it pops up too much. So I'm going to gradually make it pop up. So go up, go up, go up, go up. Yeah, so now it's smooth. This angle is going up smoothly. The other arm looks fine because we don't see that part of the arm, so it's the silhouette. Oh, I don't know if you can see it, but this part is going in and then out. It's causing weird in between there. So I'm gonna out. Nice. So in between, like from here to here, I can have the arms fan out while it's going. So fan out, because it fans out completely at the end. So I want to have a breakdown here before the smear. Yeah, I'm going to have a breakdown right here. And I can make the hand do like a follow through, like so the hand goes down because it's going up, or it goes up but the fingers point down. Simple thing, you don't see it from that distance, but and since we keyed everything, might as well, right? Do this. Move these, make the arc of the arm nicely. More for polishing things, so I won't do it too much. No. The legs. Let me see what I can do with this. I can drag back before it comes forward. Maybe it already starts stretching. Maybe it starts coming down, but going up. Like this. Nice. His head is already up here. Look up. I'm seeing there. And his head could go even more. Oh, maybe not. Okay. This to this might be a good breakdown in the middle. So what breakdown is basically doing is, instead of using Maya as like to decide what our in-betweens would be, we would just let Maya do its thing and then key it and then fix it. So I might like, why don't I do this? Then maybe the arm is still up, but the forearm is rotating. Up, rotate, maybe the wrist is goes down and then back up maybe. This is like forward. Yeah, now I'm gonna have a problem with FK. His hand's gonna. Okay. His hand is curving back, so his wrist might bend backwards. See it in the silhouette. His arm might break backwards, which is fine. You know what? This arm might break too. No, the other way. This way. His head goes down before he goes up. And he might go lower. This arm might go lower before he gets up. So let's play it. See, it's a lot smoother now. You can keep polishing this, make it better. Make him walk forward or run forward and jump. Make him roll. You can do whatever. If I want to fix any arcs, I would go in and I don't know. Move these. Go to that keyframe. Move these. Make this a little bit better. Nice settle at the end is always nice. Anticipation, jump and settle. Always cushion the landing somehow, even if it's a hero landing. You might want to cushion it, and then you just polish it. Move fingers if you want. From this distance might not be important, but move fingers, move head, maybe more follow through. The jacket like opens up, so like, oh, it's the jacket already there. So I don't know how it's work there. Okay. Let's see if it looks like anything. Well, you can't really see it. Oh. So if it doesn't play back properly, here's the step where you can play blast. For this, I can just turn on these two to make it look nicer. And if I want to play blast in my full resolution, what I do is right click on the timeline, I might add like 35 few frames for at the end so we can see it properly. Alright. So I'm gonna right click on the timeline, play blast options box. Go change this to 6264. Might be a quick time setting here. I'll just do whatever the original is. Try to do quick time from render settings. So it'll use this instead of from window, which uses a screen resolution. Scale 100%, and then save to file. Check this box. I'm gonna save it to desktop. Jump test. And oh, before I do this, we have not saved yet. Always save. Command Alt S, Control Alt S, increment save. So play blast and jump test desktop. Nice, perfect. So Playblast. I'll go to the current camera, do its thing, and then you get the video file. So you can put on loop. Cool. Just watching. And this way I can like find 5 or 6 problems with this and then fix all of them and then Playblast again if your playback doesn't work. Simple jump. You might end up with unnecessary keys. So there's a way to clean up keys that not have been animated at all, like the control. You can go edit, delete by type, static channels. So anything that's not animated, you can delete it. So clean up. So it cleans up all your straight lines. So all the controls that are not animated gets unkeyed. So it makes it cleaner. But do it later at stage, not right now. So I'm going to undo it. So all these straight lines get deleted. I'm going to pull this down. So yeah, I recently found out this method and it's like makes it easier to do big actions, big motions, and also the acting animation. There's another animation I did with the same method. I used the same method to do this one. Same references and everything, and this one like rolls. It's very easy to do this type of stuff with this method. Just plan your stuff out, set your camera, and just pose, break down, and then polish. Awesome. If anyone has any questions, let me know. All right.